And then suddenly nothing makes sense anymore. Welcome to the mess.
On the surface she looks fine, but what's inside ain't always in line. Life is good, life is bad. She's a mess, but a happy one.
Hi, I'm littlehappymess and welcome to my podcast. Story time. So, welcome back. Welcome to a new episode of Little Happy Mess. We're at episode 17 right now. And yes, I'm happy you joined in again. You're watching this episode, and I hope I can provide some input for you. First of all, I'd like to mention that I also have a blog and I post articles there. Not really articles, like I write them myself, and they're either like stories that I write, you know, when you remember the old episodes where I always had this section of quoting myself. Well, the quoting myself part is on the blog now. And also there'll be like little articles I write to how to cope with depression or not feeling worthy, you know, like different kind of topics, and I treat them there, and you find them on littlehappymess.com. Oh yeah. Also, if you like this video, I mean right now you can't judge, but you help me a lot if you subscribe. So if you feel like supporting me, please do so. Okay, let's start. So we all experience crisis at some point in our life. It's completely normal to experience crisis, and everybody experiences crisis at some point. Those crises can be, you know, life crisis, like a relationship that ends, losing someone very close to us, then maybe new chapters like a new job, or something happens at your job, like so many different things. I mean, I think that when I talk about crisis, everybody knows what I'm talking about and has experienced one or two or more at some point of her life. When we experience crisis, it kind of feels like the world is like crumbling beneath us. So we kind of lose contact to earth. We lose contact to really our life, our hobbies, our identity, and we don't know where to go. So we feel pretty lost. You know, all the things we used to take for granted, or all the things that we thought made ourselves who we are, they don't seem to generate this feeling anymore. They kind of feel like they don't belong to us anymore, and like nothing can bring joy to us anymore. And most of the time it's really painful. So we either experience some kind of physical illness, or it really like hits us mentally. So I don't know, let's say we have a chronic pain like back pains or headaches or migraine, which is headaches, but you know what I mean, or you know, so many different things, and usually they point towards us implementing a change, and that's where I'd like to get to. So one of my, like, I had many different crises, and all of them were connected with depression and anxiety. So whenever I was in a situation of crisis, I also had the typical depression and anxiety symptoms, which I guess is really typical. And, you know, now looking back, I know why those crises came. But when they came, they hit me out of nowhere, because in my case, it wasn't necessarily the case that something external happened. It always felt like something's just wrong, and I don't know what's wrong. So like that, it was, for example, when I was 14, when I experienced my first depressive episode. Like, it really hit me out of nowhere. I was losing it, like I was losing contact to everything I loved and knew. And it passed after a week, but like going through this process was very painful, and it repeated several hundred times afterwards. And then like let's call it like a crisis everybody could experience, was when a relationship ended, at the same time a job ended, and at the same time I kind of had to move because the relationship ended. And then some other like family fights, and then fights in that ending relationship phase, and fights with friends. So actually like everything crumbled. So on all kind of areas in my life, I experienced a hit, a tremendous, like it was hard. And the crisis part was really hard. Like at this crisis I'm describing right now, which was in 2020, and I will record an episode just on that, because this is actually, and it was 21, sorry. No, it was 2020. Because this was actually why I started this podcast. This is what this crisis led me to. But anyway, I felt so much pain. I felt so lost in this world. I was very destructive. I didn't have appetite anymore. I lost so much weight. And I didn't know myself anymore. Like I felt like a stranger in a stranger's body as well. And I cried a lot, and it was intense. Like it felt like dying inside, like something kind of died away. Wisdom. So now we get to the wisdom part. So what do crises stand for? In my opinion, and in the opinion of many spiritual teachers, but also in psychology, crisis always means that we need to change something. So we have outgrown a certain path, a certain version of ourselves, and it's time to change, to do something else, to follow a new path, or really discover what our path is. Because in many cases, we choose a path based on our education, our beliefs, what society taught us, what society values, what our friends, family, and so on values. And we think that we need to go a certain way, for example, chase a certain career or live a certain lifestyle. And then, the crisis hit us, and we feel terrible, and we don't feel like we belong anymore. And even if something external happened, so let's say someone we love passed away, it can still be like a trigger to get us to really reflect on where we are right now, and if that really is the path that our soul, our heart wants us to be on. Life always sends those nice reminders. Usually they're like very small, but then they get greater and greater and greater and greater. And then they're not just a little slap on the back, but like a hammer on the head or in the face or whatever. And when we get this hammer on the head, like life always means well with us. We don't see that at certain phases in our life, but life is for us. Most of the time, it's we're meant to grow, and we are meant to adapt, and we're meant to follow our mission. So we are on this earth for a certain reason, and everybody has his or her individual reasons, meaning, purpose in life. And those painful moments, they're also called kenshu moments, I think in Japanese, but I really don't know. Anyway, those painful moments usually mean that we awake in some kind of way. So we awake, we kind of like felt comfortable and kind of like asleep in our day-to-day routine and in whatever we were doing up until this point, and thought like our life was all about that. And we kind of awaken to a new reality that starts unraveling, that starts to form in front of us. And usually the greatest things, like the greatest growth, the greatest situations, the greatest opportunities grow out of those painful moments of awakening. So I think you've read like a million stories about people who got famous, or who invented something great, or who who went on a special journey, and they were only like the only thing that made it possible for them to do this was because they experienced some kind of a crisis. So people who started traveling the world because something prior happened. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. I read this story about a girl who who took a donkey, and like kind of like walked with that donkey from somewhere in Germany to Italy, and then she did it all over again to Spain. And she did that because her father died, and she was with him in this process of dying, and she saw how, you know, how precious life was, how quickly it can fade away, and that inspired her to do this journey that she always wanted to do. And it led to great things, like for example her writing a book, and her being able to go on journeys like that more often, because she found a way how to finance it and whatsoever. Like, not talking about all that inner growth that happened, which I don't know about, but yeah. And same it's for me. Like, I mean, I didn't take a donkey to Italy, but when I experienced my so far greatest crisis, I really started to think about, what do I want in life? Who do I want to be? And I found this inner truth, and like a general truth, that I really want to serve humanity, that I want to serve this world, that I want to serve people, that I want to help people, that I want to inspire people, and that I want to change the world for the better. And we all want to do that. Like, if we say we don't, it's just a part of us that we're denying. We just don't want to open up to that, because it might get emotional. We might need to get vulnerable. We might need to get out of our day-to-day, you know, most people's opinion, whatsoever culturescape thing. We need to get out of that and really like check in with our inner world. And then all of us, like as a kid, we wanted to change the world, and as a grown-up, we still want to change the world for the better. Anyway, this would have never happened if my old life kind of didn't had this crash, this immense hit, because I would have never even had the idea to start a podcast, to start the healing practitioner course, and to really pursue this goal of helping people to find their purpose, and doing everything I can to serve people, to serve this world, and really to be a kind, compassionate, loving human, and work on that steadily. And I think in all of our crises, there's this point of awakening, and then there is this recalculating of our path. So we might realize that the path we are currently on is not leading anywhere. So it's time for a change, or that we're walking on this path, but in the wrong way. So we're maybe trying too hard. So we really want to be successful. We really want to, for example, earn more money, but we're pursuing it in the wrong way. So we're not really doing it to, for example, create a better world. But we're just doing it so that we can buy this certain car, and it really doesn't fulfill us, whatever we're doing or the way we do it. And then we hit those crises, and maybe we start finding the good parts about what we're doing, and then suddenly it comes all easily. Like you have the amount of money needed, and you can buy this car. And also you were part of creating a better world because you enjoyed what you were doing. You were kind to your coworkers. You tried to help them too. Maybe you even created something that inspires more people whatsoever. So that would have never been possible if you haven't experienced a crisis prior. And something that really caught my attention, that really helped me, was when a teacher I really liked, he's called Michael Beckwith. He's like a spiritual teacher and a reverend and a doctor, like a lot of things. And he said, pain pushes until vision pulls. And I find beauty in that saying, because it kind of implements that you will experience pain, and the pain will push you forward, and the pain will lead you to new awakenings, to new rescheduling or recalculating of your path, to greater ideas, greater opportunities, and so on. But if you align your life with your life vision, with whatever it is that your heart desires, your mission on this planet, then the moments of pain are not necessary anymore, because you're living in accordance to the greater plan for you. So you're living your purpose, which means pain will still be there, but those hard crises don't need to hit that hard anymore, because you know what you have to do, because you listen to your intuition, because you listen to your heart, because you do what's right and not what most people do, or what other people think you should do, what society believes, and so on. You really listen to yourself. You really listen to that inner guidance that we all have. And I think things that help us all to overcome crisis is to really like go into our inner space, to meditate, to journal, to see a life coach, talk about it, talk to our friends, talk to our family, whoever we feel confident to talk to, but to really like give ourselves the time to and the space to figure out what we should do. And usually if we can connect ourselves with our inner world, our inner world can tell us where to go. But we can only listen to that when we're at peace, when we're really focused on it, and not like distract ourselves the whole time. And I found it really helpful to talk to coaches, because they have a different view on it, and they usually find the solution a lot faster than you can do on your own. And they give you exercises, they give you tools, and that's really helpful to go through this process, and then to read different books. And what I think is really, or like I'm getting into that more now, I think dreams are really interesting. I'll talk about a book I currently read afterwards. But like our dreams are more or less our subconsciousness talking to us. So all the things that we're not consciously seeing, experiencing whatsoever, because something inside of us hinders us from that. Usually because we live in such a rational world where there's no place for symbols, hopes, dreams, and so on and so on. But our inner world tells us, our subconscious mind knows. So I think it's really interesting to actually have a look at our dreams. What are they telling us? Because they might know the answer before you do. So if you're really like conscious about your dreams, maybe you can move to the answer faster. And the most important thing, like, it's completely normal to experience crisis. It's nothing bad. It's actually something good, but we can only see that looking back. And yes, I think the most important thing is to just accept that it's there, because sometimes life is shit, and sometimes shit things happen, and sometimes it's just not funny, and we're just not happy, and that's okay. I think this, like I already talked about toxic happiness and all that. Like, when you feel bad, you're allowed to feel bad. You do have the responsibility to try feeling better and to try everything you can. But sometimes we kind of need that. We kind of need that sadness or that heaviness to really like, how do I say that? To really realize the priority of figuring out who we are, where we're supposed to go, and what we're supposed to do. So embrace your crisis. Know that you will go out of it stronger than before, smarter than before, and more enlightened than before, and that we should actually say, yay, crisis! Further material. So for further material, like I said, I read a book from Carl Jung, who was kind of like the the first person after Freud to really dive into dreams and the archetypes you might have heard about. And he had a bit of a different view than Freud, who was taking dreams and analyzing them in a kind of generalized way, meaning that there was like a protocol and then there was the free association technique that he always used. And, he interpreted the dreams in that way. And Jung kind of said that each dream is individual and it completely depends who you are as a person, what your problems are, and how to interpret the dream. And I found the book really interesting because he talks a lot about how, earlier on when we were living in tribes and so on, we had more contact with our subconsciousness and we listened to our dreams more. So even in religions, we said that God speaks to us through our dreams, and a lot of great inventions actually came from dream visions. And now that we live in a more rationalized world where science took over, which is a good thing, of course, that we have science, but we lost that contact to our subconscious mind, and we push a lot of things that are not allowed to be kind of like back, but they're still part of our psyche, and our dreams let us enter this realm again. And a lot of problems or a lot of problem coping strategies actually occur in the subconscious mind. So our dreams try to resolve problems we're in, and they also try to point out certain problems or opportunities, of course, too, and they try to pass it over to our conscious mind. So I would totally recommend to write down your dreams. I do it too. Some dreams I have absolutely no idea what they mean. Like, I have crazy dreams, but sometimes it's really clear, and then I'm like, now I know what to do. So totally recommend the book. In German it's Traumdeutung. I'll just put a link, but it's from Carl Gustav Jung, and he's a very famous therapist. Amazing story, amazing work. And you should check it out. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, subscribe. This helps me to create more content and provide more helpful videos for you. I'm happy if you let me know what you would like to hear about. So things I should talk about, and just anything you would like me to talk about. I just repeated myself. And if you like this episode, you can comment. You can always direct message me on Instagram. And like I already said in the beginning, I have a blog now, so you can check out the blog posts. And yeah, I hope I'll see you next week again. Have a great weekend and stay awesome. Nice!